guys, welcome to the channel. Today I'm going to talk about a young lady out of Colorado, Natalie Bollinger. The story is very interesting. It has a few layers to it, and it involves social media and Craigslist. So let's get started. Natalie was 19 years old and she lived in Broomfield, Colorado. She had left her house on December 28, 2017, 3 days after Christmas. And when she didn't return home, her parents filed a missing persons report later that day. So 24 hours later, a body was discovered in a wooded area off of a Riverdale Road, and it was at a dairy farm, McIntosh Dairy, in Adams County. Tuesday, January 2nd, 2018, authorities identified the body as Natalie Bollinger. 2 weeks prior to Natalie's murder, she had made several Facebook posts in regards to being harassed by a man named Shaun Swartz. On her Facebook status, she indicated she had met Schwartz about 2 years ago. She gave him rides and went on to explain that he drove across country to see me, slept behind her work for weeks. When she told him she was no longer interested, didn't want to see him anymore, he was calling her over and over, texting her over 100 times. He parked his car in front of her house, blocking a military highway for hours. Shawn Schwartz was then arrested. After the incident, Natalie wrote on her Facebook that she had asked Shaun to leave her alone, but she stated he won't. Natalie goes on to explain that Schwartz was harassing her family and friends and slandering her name on Facebook. She asked her family and friends to not comment on anything he said, do not message him, do not reach out to him whatsoever. She was handling it. She thought he was mentally ill, and in some sick way, he seemed to get off on if people would comment or message him in regards to Natalie. So to help her, she just asked her friends and family, do not contact him and do not comment. On December 22nd, 2017, Natalie was granted her restraining order against Shaun Swartz. She made a Facebook post saying she finally felt safe. According to Shaun's Facebook profile, he was from Chapel, Nebraska. He went to Chapel High School there in Nebraska. He also boasts about being a blacksmith and making his own hammers, mallets, and axes. Besides knowing this information, there's not much to know about Schwartz. Schwartz, however, was very active on social media, on Facebook, and yes, he does have a YouTube. At the time that Natalie was murdered, many found his ramblings and videos deeply, deeply disturbing. During the time that Natalie was missing, Shaun Swartz posted on his Facebook asking people to help search for his friend, Natalie Bollinger. In September, Schwartz posted a status stating, "Natalie, I wanted only the best for you. Now all I want is for you to go through the hell I've lived. I want to blow my head off in front of you, so close you can feel the warm spatter of my blood on your face." Wow. In the Adams County Sheriff press conference, it was stated there was a 26-hour time frame that is missing, that they didn't have anyone talking to Natalie on social media or by text or in person or on the phone. That's a critical time that they were looking at. When the police were being interviewed by reporters, they wouldn't mention Shaun's name, but they would say the man that Bollinger had obtained a restraining order from. We had only talked to him, the sheriff said, but we are not ready to call anyone a suspect, but is certainly a part of our investigation. Swartz had initially been questioned by authorities when Natalie was missing. One post may have drawn law enforcement's attention quite quickly. According to Natalie's own Facebook post, Shaun used various aliases, posting as a possible alias as Jonah Taylor. It is believed that Shaun is posting about himself, referring to what a nice man he was, saying Natalie may be dead, but people need to stop blaming him. Schwartz also confirmed he was questioned by authorities, posting it on his own Facebook page. Schwartz talked about his time with the detectives. On Shaun's Facebook, he said he provided them, law enforcement, with his cell phone, computer, DNA sample, and ultimately was let go. He did not specify if it was the Bollinger Police or Adams County Sheriff authorities that questioned him. However, the detectives said, "We have talked to him again and again. We are not ready to call anybody a suspect, but it's certainly a piece of our investigation and a piece of our timeline." I think Natalie might have been onto something about him possibly being mentally ill, because he made a Facebook post saying, "Why am I a person of interest and not a suspect?" Strange. But the fact was, until authorities said otherwise, as compelling as his statements and behavior had been, Schwartz remained only a person of interest and not an official suspect. As Natalie's death investigation continues, Schwartz was booked into Boulder County Jail on Saturday, January 6, 2018. Schwartz was charged with second-degree assault, obstructing a police officer, and resisting arrest when police were conducting a welfare check. An arrest affidavit. Broomfield police were monitoring Schwartz's Facebook page and observed some potentially suicidal references. At the time, law enforcement probably thought, "Oh my gosh, we have a smoking gun sitting right here in front of us." But all would eventually change. According to the officers that met up with Schwartz, Schwartz had stated to them that he missed his friend Natalie and wanted to talk to her, but he couldn't because she was unfortunately dead. Then somehow law enforcement talked Shaun Swartz into going to a local hospital there in Colorado, but once they got him there, he began screaming at staff, acting a fool, trying to leave the room, and not listening to staff's instructions. At one point, Schwartz began kicking and biting officers, who then arrested him and transported him to jail, where he was later released on a $5,000 personal recognized bond. At the time, Shaun Swartz had remained a compelling person of interest in the murder of Natalie Bollinger. He remained just that, a lead. While Natalie Bollinger was still missing, like other families of missing persons, the family used Facebook to search for her, distributing photographs and information worldwide. At this time, Natalie's family is not only dealing with the trauma of losing their daughter to homicide, they are victims of an ongoing online assault by someone who threatened their daughter's life, a person Natalie Bollinger feared. Law enforcement used Natalie's phone, social media, and internet access to finding as to whom Natalie's killer probably was. Well, it actually wasn't. When law enforcement was looking through her phone, they were able to find another connection. The connection happened to be Joseph Michael Lopez. When the deputies talked to Lopez, he lied multiple times to investigators before admitting to shooting and killing the teen, whom he met that day, and he killed her. When law enforcement first contacted Lopez, he told them that he knew why they wanted to talk to him. Joseph told law enforcement that he met Natalie Bollinger December 28th, on the day that she went missing. He stated he found an ad the teen posted on Craigslist dating section titled, "I Want to Put a Hit on Myself." According to his arrest affidavit, they met later that day and looked for a place where Bollinger could die. Lopez, who was working for Domino's Pizza at the time, then gave investigators multiple accounts of how Bollinger died. Yes, my friends, this is true. She did put an ad on Craigslist for someone to kill her. First, Lopez had stated that he and Bollinger couldn't find a good place for the killing, so he took her back home. Lopez changed his story after deputies confronted Lopez with the phone data that showed he had been in the area where Bollinger's body was found. He then said that Bollinger killed herself in the area, even as he pleaded with her not to do it. But when the police told him Bollinger's autopsy report showed that someone else did kill her, Lopez finally admitted to shooting her in the head. He told police that he was shaking when he pulled the trigger and had to look away. Then why would you even meet up with her if this is something that you couldn't bear to see or do? Right? During his interview, the police said Lopez mentioned that he kept a journal in high school in which he wrote stories about kidnapping people, torturing people, and executing them. Wow, what a disturbed individual. The autopsy report released February 1st found that Bollinger died from a single gunshot wound to the head and had potentially lethal amount of heroin in her blood when she was killed. The Craigslist killer, Joseph Michael Lopez, was sentenced to 48 years in prison. Michael Lopez pleaded guilty in Adams County District Court to second-degree murder for killing 19-year-old Natalie Bollinger in exchange for a dismissal of the first-degree murder charge prosecutors originally filed. Online court records show the maximum penalty for second-degree murder is only 48 years in prison, while a first-degree murder charge carries a minimum sentence of life in prison and a maximum of penalty of execution. With all intent and purposes in talking about this case, it just makes you wonder if heroin didn't play a role in the bad decision making that Natalie did do. She was meeting up with some sketchy people, and I just wonder if her heroin addiction may have led up to this. Social media, the internet is very scary. And then you add addiction on top of that, and then you feel like you want to die. So you're reaching out on a dating website, on a Craigslist website, for someone to murder you. It's hard to understand that there is a male that is willing to do this. This world is a sick, sick place. Rest in peace, Natalie Bollinger. And my heart goes out to your friends and your dear family. That's it, guys. Like, subscribe, share, don't. I'll see ya.